Hello, hello. Welcome back for another Home Sweet Pilates Reformer video. Today we are going to be doing a beginner workout. It's not going to be super long, but it's just going to go through some of the basics of reformer work. So I can't wait to get started. Let's get going. So I'm going to have you start with 3 springs on. If you are on a balanced body reformer, do a red, red, blue. So let's do that now. Place on your 3 springs. And we will begin by lying ourselves down. If you would like to have your headrest up, you can. You do not have to. I'm going to, just because I feel like it. Okay, so we're going to begin with our hands down by our sides, and we're just gonna get our breath here. So the first thing I really want to focus on anytime I have someone who is new to Pilates in general is I really want you to concentrate on your breath. So getting to figure out that mind and body core connection is really important. So with your feet up on the bar, take one hand and place it on your chest. Take your other hand and place it on your belly. I don't care which hand you have in which area. Now you're going to take a nice inhale. On that inhale, I want you to think about filling up your belly with air without lifting your chest at all. So we're going to do some belly breathing here. So take an inhale and release. We'll do that again. Take your inhale, fill your entire belly with air without letting that hand on the chest rise. Do a few more here. Keep moving through. This alone might be a little difficult. A lot of people, especially if you have had babies, anytime recently, we breathe in our chest and we don't actually fill that diaphragm with air. So it's really important to practice this type of breathing. It also really helps your parasympathetic nervous system. So if you're ever feeling really stressed out or like anxious, I like to do this. If I feel really stressed out, I just lie on the floor and I do some belly breathing. And it really does help to settle you down. Now next, we're going to take those hands and place them on your ribs. On your inhale, allow your ribs to widen out. Your chest will naturally rise. That's totally fine. So your ribs will go diagonally, right? As you take that inhale. On your exhale, you're going to knit those ribs down and in. So we inhale, exhale, bring those ribs all the way in. Do another one. Exhale. As you do that exhale, you'll start to feel that pelvic floor wake up a little bit. Think about connecting those ribs and that pelvic floor. Obviously, that's not going to actually happen, but the imaginary visual of it can be really helpful. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to come closer to the camera just to show you a little bit closer. So I'm inhaling. As I exhale, I bring those ribs down and in. We'll do 2 more here. So I'm not hunching in my shoulders, right? I'm just moving through my breath. This feeling right now as you do that exhale of bringing that belly button in and feeling that pelvic floor waking up, that is what I want you to feel when we're doing core work, okay? It's okay if you didn't get this right away. If it takes you a couple tries, that's totally fine. Just keep practicing it, and the more that you practice it, the easier it will become, okay? Okay, now lying back down, just take your feet on that bar and sway them side to side. We're just gonna loosen up that lower back a little bit before we get into some work. So just go side to side here. Do 1 more each direction. Beautifully done. Now place those heels on the bar hip distance apart. Take a nice inhale on your exhale. Extend the carriage out and bring it back in. So we go out and in and out, and don't bang your carriage like I just did. The key here is to be just as much in control out as you are in. I want you to think about having your entire spine on that carriage. We're not hunched in our shoulders. Our core is strong, right? We're not allowing anything to flop around. Our knees are in line with our feet. One more here. All the way out. Bring it back in. Now place those toes on the bar like we're in a high heel. So you're wearing stilettos right now. Keep that high heel. You go out and in. And out and in. One more here. Now hold that carriage out. Flex those feet under the bar. And go back to tiptoe. Flex under, back to tiptoe. This is a little tendon stretch, and it feels really, really good. If you want, you can do a little prancing, running in place. Do one leg at a time. And switch. And switch. Do one more on each foot, or one more with both feet if you're still doing both feet, and bend to bring it in. Now you're going to put your heels together, but keep those toes on the bar in a narrow V. So I don't want you wide, I want you narrow. And press out and in. The key here is to make sure that those heels stay glued the entire time. How's your core? Is your back starting to arch? If it is, don't allow that. Bring that belly button back down towards the spine. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Your chest is nice and open. We're not gripping the carriage here, right? Our hands are resting nicely. Last two. Last one. And bring it on in. Now, glue your toes, your ankles, your knees, everything together. Wrap your toes around the bar as best you can, like a bird on a perch, while keeping everything glued together. Press out and in. I know this feels unnatural and awkward, and that's because our feet are rarely ever in this kind of a position, right? We're always walking every day. So it's important to move your feet in ways that they don't always move to keep that mobility. Do two more. Last one. And bring it in. Finally, let's bring those heels to the widest point of the bar and go out and in. Don't forget to breathe. By now, your lower body should be warming up. We have two more here. Beautifully done. Now, let's take our legs, bring them to the side as we sit ourselves up to change our springs. So now we're going to go into two medium springs. If you're on a balanced body, do a red and a blue. Lie yourself back down. And go ahead and grab those straps. We'll grab the long loops. If you have short and long loops, grab the long ones. And bring those legs up into tabletop. Okay, so we're at a 90 degree here. We're already working. You'll be able to feel that this is already working. Your core is engaged, right? Your legs are at 90 degrees. If you feel like you're really tight in your hip flexors, you can bring them closer to you. But I want you to try to hit that 90, okay? Just try. You never know if you don't try. So our arms are up towards the ceiling. We're gonna start with some 100 prep. So take an inhale. On that exhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders as you bring your arms down by your sides. and bring it back to the start. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders as you bring it down by the sides. And lower your upper body back down. Keep your lower body where it's at. Do one more here. Hold it up at the top. And start pumping those arms up and down like so. You're going to inhale for 5 seconds. Exhale for 5. So inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going. The key here, you're lifting from your core, not from your neck. Okay? Your wrists are locked. They're not bending at all. Your arms are not bending at all. Your shoulders are still relaxed. They're not hunched up in your ears. You're pumping away. One more set. And go ahead and lower it down. Place those feet on the bar. And now we're going to take one leg at a time and place them into the straps for some feet and straps. So I have both of my feet in the straps here. This rope is really bothering me. It keeps making a noise. Okay. So you have both your feet in the straps here. I want you to think about keeping your legs together to begin with those heels glued and that slight Pilates V turn out, okay? Now, the key here for you is to figure out what your neutral is. So neutral does not necessarily mean that your legs are at 90 degrees. Like for me, if I have my legs here, my lower body is lifting up off the carriage, and I do not want that. That is not what I want. What I want you to think about is where your legs are when your entire spine is firmly planted on that carriage. So for me, this is neutral. Even though technically this is 90 degrees, this for me is neutral, okay? So when lowering our legs, we want our core to engage here. I don't want to go so far that I begin to arch my back like this, because then I'm losing the purpose of this work, right? So I'm only going to bring my legs to about here, because if I go any further, I'm going to lose that core connection. So I want to make sure here that I'm always active in what I'm doing, all right? So let's bring those legs back up to wherever your neutral is and lower it down. Something I see a lot of people doing when they do these is they go all the way down and then their back starts to arch. You see how my back is lifting? I can fit my whole hand under my back. I do not want you to do that. So exhale as you lower, keeping that belly engaged, and then lift back up as you inhale. So lower down and lift. The more that you practice, the more you'll learn just kind of like where your neutral place is. Neutral is not necessarily the same for everyone, right? Some people are more flexible than others. Some people have had, previous injuries or surgeries that might make a difference in where neutral is for them. So one thing for you as you go on through Pilates is to just determine where neutral is for you and not necessarily where it is for someone else. Okay? So just some things to think about. We'll do one more like this. Lower it down. Bring it back up to neutral. Now we're going to do some circles. So open your legs about the width of your reformer. Bring them down to 45 degrees. Bring those heels back together and lift them back up to neutral. So we go out, down, together, and up. Another thing here that a lot of people like to do is they like to go really wide and just kind of like float through here, which is not inherently bad, right? But that is more stretch than it is work. What I want us to be focusing on here is work. So I only want you to open to the width of that reformer. Imagine that those legs are mirror images of one another. So they're moving apart at the same time, down at the same time, and together at the same time. If you have kind of a wonky hip or anything like that, you'll start to notice that you'll have one leg that wants to kind of go off and do its own thing and go out of sync with the other one. So it's important to move slow enough that you are in control of what you're doing. One more like this, then we're going to switch directions. Okay, now take those legs, lower them together, open them with your reformer, bring them back up to neutral and together. So we go down, out, up, together. Down, out, up, together. We have one more here. And back to neutral. Now keeping those heels together, bend those knees in towards your chest, press them out to 45 degrees. Bend it in, press it out. Bend it in, press it out. Keeping those heels glued the entire time. Imagine you have a $100 bill in between there, you don't want to lose it, right? We got to keep that cash in there. Inhale as you bring those knees in, exhale as you press them out. Don't allow momentum to take over. Be in control of what you're doing. Momentum is a bad word here. 2 more. Last one. And bring it in. Take one of those legs, remove it from the strap, and just hold on to it. The other strap, place around your ankle, and straighten that leg up towards the ceiling while flexing that foot. The more that you bend the knee of the leg that's on the foot bar, the more of a stretch you're gonna get in that hamstring. Okay, so just play around with it a little bit. Don't forget to keep that foot flexed. It's important to stretch through these hamstrings. Mine are super tight. You might start shaking really bad with the foot that's in the strap. That's totally normal. Don't be alarmed by it. Now take that leg, bring it to the outside while keeping that opposite hip firmly planted on the carriage. Just breathe through it. My leg's starting to shake. Okay, now bring that leg up and over to the other side. You can lift that hip, keep that flex. You're gonna go into that IT band. It does not feel super pleasant at all, but it's very important. Oh, it's so tight. Bring it back up and go ahead and remove that strap. So you're gonna switch legs here. So take that strap, the other strap, place it around your other ankle and get into that hamstring stretch. Keep that foot flexed. Sorry if you hear dogs barking in the background. We finally have decent weather here, so I'm not sweating like crazy, which is very nice. Okay, take that foot, bring it to the outside. Remember to keep that opposite hip nice and glued down onto the mat. Don't forget that flex in the foot. You'll feel your inner thigh really nice here. Okay, bring it up and over to the other side. It's okay if you lift that hip. Oh my goodness. This is as far as I can go. My IT band is so tight. Oh man. Go ahead and lift it back up. Remove that strap. Bring the carriage in gently. Hang up the straps and grab your box. Okay, so we have our box. We're gonna place it long ways on the reformer. So a little trick to remember is long ways is when you have the short end up against the shoulder blocks, and short ways is when you have the long end up against the shoulder blocks. I know it's backwards, but it's just the best way to remember how it works. Put your headrest down if you had it up. We're gonna go on to one spring here. So if you're on a balanced body, do a blue. Take that bar, bring it down. If you're standing at the back left corner of your box, take your right leg, swing it over as you bring your hands to the top corners to bring your entire body onto the box, okay? Then scoot yourself forward, so your chest is hanging off of the box. If you are standing on the opposite end, it'll be the opposite leg, okay? Grab those straps and choke up on them. I want you to really choke up on the straps. Now you're going to have your legs behind you nice and engaged. So I don't want them just hanging back right here, right? I'm engaging those glutes. I'm pointing my toes. I'm imagining that I'm trying to touch the back wall with my feet. So they're really pulling and pointing, right? My hands are in a wide V up in front. I'm looking square down at the floor, so my head is in line with the rest of my spine. I'm not looking up. I'm not having my chin tucked into my chest. I have a nice neutral spine here, okay? My belly button is engaged towards my spine so I don't get crunchy in my lower back. I'm gonna take these straps, pull them down and up towards my hips. Bring them back down and repeat. If you find that you're on too light of a weight here, go ahead and add more. But we are gonna be here for a little bit, so you might wanna wait before doing that. Exhale as you bring those straps towards your hips, and inhale as you release. Now on this next one, as you bring those straps down towards your hips, I want you to lift your eyes towards the wall in front of you and lift your chest slightly. Lower it back down. So I'm not lifting my head, right? I'm lifting my chest with my head as I pull the straps back. Just get some nice extension here. We'll do one more. And lower it down. Okay, keep that back body engaged. We're gonna pull those straps back to our hips, bend 90 degrees at the elbows. Keep your shoulders down, your collarbone is nice and wide. Pull back for a tricep press or tricep extension. Make sure you're not moving from your wrists here, right? I'm not slapping these back like they're horse reins, like that. Imagine my wrists are in a wrist brace and I'm literally moving from my shoulders and my elbows. So my wrists are not bending. 2 more. Your triceps should be feeling this by now. And now bring it out wide into a T and pull back to your hips. Out to a T, back to your hips. Don't forget to breathe. You have 2 more. Last one. And in. Gently put that carriage back. Just because a class is beginner does not mean it's not hard. Okay, 1 foot at a time. Get yourself off the reformer. Come around. Bring that bar back up. Not all the way up, but like 1 before it. If you need water, go ahead and get water. Now, we're gonna get onto the reformer like we just did the opposite way, but now we're gonna be facing the front, okay? So go ahead and get onto your belly, or prone is the other way to do it. Okay, so take those hands, place them on the bar in front of you, shoulder width apart, my elbows are in. They are not out wide, they are nice and down. I'm not grabbing around the bar, I'm just resting my palms here, okay? My back body, once again, is engaged. Make sure that belly button is towards your spine or else you'll start to feel kind of sore in that lower back. My head is looking straight down. We're gonna do some long box overhead press. Oh, you know what? I forgot. We're gonna add 1 more spring. Good thing we're right here, right? Put on 1 more medium spring here, okay? All right, so now we're gonna do long box overhead press. So exhale as you press out. Inhale as you bring it in. Exhale as you press out. Inhale as you bring it in. The key here is to make sure that your shoulders stay down the whole time, okay? Keep those shoulder blades down. I'm not gripping around the bar. I'm just using it to press. One more. And in. Now take off 1 spring, so you're just on 1 medium spring. Take your left hand, Place it behind your back, palm is facing the ceiling. Keep that other hand where it was on the bar. We're doing single arm now. Press out and in. Again here, do not let your shoulder hike up. I see a lot of people when they do this, they kind of push up like this to get themselves out. Think about keeping that elbow down, your elbows down and in, your shoulders down and relaxed. You're using those back muscles, right? And those arm muscles to push yourself out without hiking up. You have one more. And bring it in. Switch sides. Keep that eyesight down on the floor. One more. And bring it in. Beautifully done. Place that other medium spring back on that you had before. We're gonna do some swan here. This is gonna feel so good. Okay, get some extension. Take those hands, place them shoulder width apart once again on that bar. We're gonna do what we did before with the press. So press yourself out, but this time keep those arms straight, shoulders down. Press down through those hands as you lift your eyesight and your chest up off of the box and bring the carriage in. Now press back out, keeping those arms straight. Bring your eyes back down to the ground, bend the elbows to bring the carriage in. So we press out as we exhale. We inhale as we lift our chest and our eyes. My pubic bone stays on the box, but my belly button has lifted off. Bring the carriage back out with those straight arms. Bend the elbows to bring it in. We have two more. Exhale out. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale in. Exhale out. Inhale up. Exhale out, down. Inhale in. Beautifully done. Now, let's get ourselves off of the box. We're going to turn the box short ways so that long end is up against the shoulder blocks, making sure we're even on both sides. Place all of your springs on and bring this bar down. Perfectly done. Okay, we're going to go into some short box abs. So we're going to sit ourselves onto the box facing the front. Grab your strap that is through, hanging off the front of your reformer. Put your feet through it. And if your bar is able to be right at foot height, rest your toes on the bar. Because I have a little bit of ab separation, I like to have the counter tension of having my feet on a bar to push into when I lean myself back. Because if you don't have that, it puts all that weight on your core. And if you've recently had a baby, or you've had a baby in the past, or if you just know that you have some core separation, it's a good idea to have a little bit of counter tension, okay? So starting nice and tall, I'm pulling that strap apart with my feet. So I'm active here. My hands are going right out in front of me. I'm going to take a nice inhale. On my exhale, I'm going to bring my chin towards my chest as I curl my tailbone under to roll in that spine to bring myself down. Take an inhale at the bottom, exhale as I roll myself back up. So the way I like to think about it is when I roll myself down, I'm leading with that tailbone, right? I'm tilting that tailbone. I'm getting really deep in that core to curve that spine, but I'm not hunching in my shoulders. I'm still relaxed here. But then to bring myself up, I'm almost leading with my shoulders in the sense that I'm rolling myself forward before I sit up tall. So to sit myself back, I'm leaning with that tailbone, right? My shoulders are the last to arrive. To sit myself up, I'm starting with those shoulders to roll up. We'll do one more. Use that breath. Don't be afraid to breathe loudly. It will help you, I promise. Especially if you're doing this, you're probably by yourself. It doesn't matter. No one's going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you. Okay? All right. Now we're going to do some flat back. So once again, we have that straight line from our head to my tailbone. I'm going to imagine that I'm rocking back like I'm a board or like I'm a Barbie doll. Barbie dolls can't bend, right, in their spines. So here I am. I'm literally gonna hinge at my hips. My arms are just following along. I'm here and I'm shaking. I don't know if you can see it, but I am quaking and shaking. And then I hinge myself back up. So I am not bending at all. You will not be able to go back as far when you're doing flat back, and that's totally fine. Ooh, do one more. And up. Beautifully done. Now we can remove our feet from those straps. We can take off the box. If you need a drink, now's your time to get one. We're gonna bring ourselves back over here, put our bar back up, and go onto 2 medium springs. So if you're on a balanced body, do a red and a blue. Now, I'm gonna have you stand facing the front of your reformer, facing your front wall, I should say, not facing the front of the reformer, but anyways. So your hands are on your bar. You're going to take your inside leg, dorsiflex that foot up against the shoulder block and rest your knee just for a second there on the carriage, okay? Take the outside leg, place it next to the reformer like so. Now, lift your knee off of the carriage. We're gonna round that spine like we're doing a cat-cow, okay? Pull those hands apart like so. Now, do not lose this round at all. You have a slight bend in that standing leg. Without losing the rounding in your spine, press the carriage back and bring it forward. Press it back and forward. You'll feel as you bring it forward, you'll feel a stretch all down the front of your thigh of the leg that's moving on the carriage. Don't lose this rounding. Imagine I'm coming and I'm pulling a string up from your upper back, right? Or I'm coming and I'm tucking you up in that belly. Two more. You'll feel this in your core as well. Last one. Now we'll do flat back. So I have that straight line from my head to my torso. We're doing the exact same thing. So we press out and in. You'll be able to move that leg out further this time, just because you don't have that rounding in that spine. My eyes are looking straight ahead of me, kind of down diagonal on the floor. This does not look like a very difficult move, but you will feel it for sure. Whew, one more. This is called knee stretch. This is the standing version. There's a version that you do with both legs on the carriage, but we will do that another time. So let's come around to the other side. Because we have two legs, we have to do two sides. We're gonna do that same thing. So your standing leg is slightly bent, right? You're rounding in that spine. I'm trying to make a C, right, with my spine. Now press it out and in, and out and in, out and in. Make sure you bring that carriage all the way in. Bring it all the way, because you'll get that stretch even more in that leg. Hence the knee stretch, right? One more. And in. Now to that flat back. So I'm not arched, right? I'm not pushing my booty out like this. I'm trying to create that nice solid line. And I just press out and in. You don't need to look at your foot. It's not going anywhere. You know it's against that shoulder block. Your thighs should be on fire by now. Two more. Last one. And bring it in. Good job. Feel ourselves all the way on the carriage with our feet up against the shoulder blocks. And sit your booty back down on your hips. So I want you to think about how we just did with our flat back. Man, I'm like out of breath. Okay, we have that line from our head to our tailbone, okay? we're not losing this line. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slightly lift off of my heel, so I'm not just resting, right? I'm active. I'm going to hinge at my hips to press my feet out, so I'm in like an extended half plank almost. And then I'm gonna use my shoulders to bring myself down even more. Now, using my shoulders only, swan yourself in. So inhale, keep the shoulders down, arms straight, lift your eyes to the wall in front of you. Now bring it back out. And inhale up, exhale out, down. Inhale up, exhale down. This is called down stretch. So your core is engaged here, especially when you are extending yourself all the way out. My hands are not wrapped around this bar. I want your thumbs up in line with your other fingers. So I don't want your thumb to be wrapped around that bar. Two more. Notice how my eyesight is following along with my body, right? My eyes are looking at the floor as I extend out, and then looking up as I bring it in. Extend back out one more time, hold it out. Now hinge at the hips to bring the knees back underneath, and then lift to bring the carriage all the way in. That can be hard, so you're doing a good job. Okay, now lying ourselves back onto our backs here. You can keep your springs where they are. Lie yourself down, make sure that your headrest is all the way down if it is not already for whatever reason. Make sure it's all the way down. We're gonna do some bridging and pelvic lifts. So keeping your hands by your side, your heels or like the center of your feet are on the bar. I would prefer heels personally, but I'm not gonna be too picky about it right now. I want you to imagine that you have a marble on your pubic bone and you are trying to roll it into your belly button. Okay, so take an inhale. On your exhale, roll that imaginary marble into your belly button. So you're tilting your pelvis towards your head. Now push down through your feet as you lift your hips up toward the ceiling. Now, the goal here is to not move the carriage as you bridge yourself up and down. So once again, curl that spine. Roll it down all the way. Try to hit every single vertebrae as you roll down back to that starting position. It's hard because you're not on super heavy of weights here. Bridge back up. So not moving the carriage is very difficult. I still move it a little bit, so don't feel bad if your carriage is moving. It's just something to think about when you're lifting, so that you're engaging all of the proper muscles, right? I'm pressing down through my forearms, so my chest is nice and wide. I'm curling that tailbone. I'm pushing down through those heels. And then I lower it down, slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. Take notice. Does something in your body kind of move out of whack as you lower? I have a lot of people who, when they're lowering, one of their hips will kind of kick out. So if that's you, I want you to move slower as you roll down. So here, move slow, so that you can keep everything moving in line. Okay, we've got one more. We're gonna hold it at the top here. So bridge yourself up, hold it. Now press through those feet to push the carriage out for a pelvic lift without dropping your hips, and then bring it back in. So press out and in, and out and in, and out and in. Keep going. You should feel your hamstrings for sure. Two more. The last one. Hold it at the top and roll it down. Bring those knees into your chest, rock side to side. We're gonna move on to a little bit of arm work. So sit yourself up. I'm gonna have you stay on 2 medium springs here, and we are going to face the back. So stay on those springs. You can place your feet through the shoulder blocks, resting on the headrest here, or if you have tight hamstrings, come into a nice crisscross, okay? I'm gonna start trying with my legs straight. I tend to have to go to crisscross eventually, but we'll see how it goes. If you have shorter loops, grab the short loops here, just because it'll add a little more tension and be a little more challenging. So our hands are out in front of us. My palms are facing up towards the ceiling. My arms are at shoulder height. I'm just going to bicep curl in and extend it out. Bicep curl in and extend it out. If you're noticing that your weight is too heavy for you right now, make it lighter. I would rather you have proper form, right, than try to really struggle through and hurt yourself. I'm sitting tall, I'm not leaning back. If you're starting to lean back to get traction, you're a little too heavy. Maybe go on one medium and one light spring, okay? You will build up the strength, so do not feel bad about it. Form matters way more than anything else. I also don't want you dropping your arms down every time. Keep them that shoulder height. Whew, do one more. Now, rotate those palms towards the ground. You're gonna take those arms, pull them back for a tricep pull, and up. But what I don't wanna see is your chest coming forward like this, right? Keep that spine neutral, use those triceps, use that chest. No bending at the wrists. You're looking straight ahead. No momentum. 2 more. Last one. And bring it in. Now bring those palms facing one another. One arm at a time. Imagine that elbow is trying to paint your ribs, so you keep it tight into you. Go side and forward. Single arm row and forward. I'm not wide here, right? My elbow is in towards my chest and I'm rotating my torso to go along. I'm not using my hips to rotate. It's just my torso. Try not to lean back, right? Try to keep that upright seated position. One more each direction. So we got one more on the other side. And back to front. Okay, hang up those straps, turn yourself around. We're not done with arm work, but take off one of your springs if you're on 2 medium springs. If you're on 1 medium, 1 light, take one off as well and keep that medium spring on. Now facing the front, same thing. You can have your feet straight out in front of you, or you can crisscross. I tend to feel better doing crisscross, so that's what I'm gonna do. My hips are up against the shoulder blocks. I'm grabbing those straps once again, the short loops if you have them. Starting with my elbows bent at 90 degrees and my palms facing the ceiling. You're going to serve that tray forward and bring it back. Serve it forward and bring it back. If this feels too light, make your springs heavier, but we are going to be adding on, so just keep that in mind. Now we're going to serve that tray, open it, bring it back in, and back to start. So we reach forward, we open while keeping our arms in our peripherals. I'm not sticking my chest out. My spine is still nice and neutral. Bring it back together and in. So exhale as we extend, inhale as we open, exhale, close, inhale, back to start. I know there's a lot of things to think about, but it's good for your brain as well to learn how to coordinate these things. We'll do 2 more. I'm looking straight ahead in front of me. And bring it in. Now bring those hands like you're hugging a beach ball or you're hugging around a big tree, like so. We're going to open them up and just close them. Open, close. So one thing here a lot of people start to do is they start to use momentum to pull themselves like this. And I don't want you to do that. Momentum is a bad word here. You will hear me say this a lot. We do not use momentum. We are in control of our movement. Yes, it makes it slower, but it also makes it harder, which also makes you stronger, which is what we want, right? So inhales you open, exhales you close. Make sure that chest is not popping out. One more. And bring it in. Now take those hands, make a triangle, bring your elbows underneath the straps. Okay, you don't want your arms on top of the straps, put them under the straps. You have a triangle, bring it to your forehead like it's a light beam, right? You're a lighthouse and it's a light beam and you're shooting light 45 degrees up ahead of you, right? At an upward angle. So extend, inhale, exhale, inhale. Also, do not let your legs start to rock up. That's momentum. We don't want that. So keep your legs glued down. You're hinged slightly forward at your hips. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. And up. Bring your carriage in gently. Hang up the straps. Add 1 more medium spring here. We're going to do some lunging and then mermaid, and then you're done. You're doing an awesome job. So here, once again, we're going to be facing the front wall. Our hands are on the bar. Our inner foot is in that dorsiflex, which just means my foot is flexed up and my toe pads are on the carriage. My knee is on the carriage, and I'm bringing my outside leg a little bit in front, like so I can really lunge into it. So I want you to think about putting all that weight into that standing heel as you press the carriage back into a lunge. This is just gonna feel really good. Really good in that hip flexor. And then bring it back in. So keep your knee on the carriage the whole time. Your knee is in line with your ankle as you lunge back and then bring it in. We're going to do 1 more and then we're going to hold it back. Hold it. Take that right hand or whatever your outside arm is, the same arm as your leg that's standing on the ground, bring it up over your head. This will just get deeper into that stretch. And then bring it back in and we'll switch to the other side. So walk around. And do the same thing. So that inside leg goes on the reformer, the outside leg goes a little bit in front, kind of like where the platform is. And you just lunge yourself back, having that knee in line with that ankle. And in. And back. And in. What did you think so far? I hope that if you are just starting out, that you found that you surprised yourself in what you could do. Let's bring that out and hold it. Take that hand, hold it overhead. I hope that you're proud of yourself. Anytime you move your body is something to be proud of. Bring it in. We got 1 more stretch and then we're done. We're going to mermaid. So sit on your reformer facing the front or me or whatever you want. Take the leg that is closest to the shoulder blocks and put that shin up against the blocks. Your other leg is parallel to the front side of your carriage. Your hand is on the bar. Your opposite hand is palm up towards the ceiling. Press the carriage out as you bring that arm up overhead, keeping your shoulders down and keeping your opposite hip down. You'll feel a beautiful stretch all down the side of your body. Rotate towards the springs. Rotate back towards me and bring it in. Take that right hand, or whichever hand is close to the shoulder block, place it on the shoulder block. Counter stretch. We'll do 1 more on this side, and then we'll go to the other side. And in. Beautifully done. Switch around to the other end. You'll see that you'll see my backside for this one, but that's okay. It's good to get, honestly, a visual of what things look like from the back as well. So try to keep this hip closest to the shoulder blocks, as down as you can. Push the carriage out, bring it up and over, rotate towards the springs, back towards the front, bring it in. Place that hand on the shoulder block, counter stretch, and you have one more. Please let me know what you thought of this workout. I would love to hear it. If you're new to Pilates or if you're just wanting to go back to basics, that's always really good as well. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to hear from you, and I will see you next time.